Alright, guys, this is PJ here, and I'm doing early morning, early for me, commentary, hosting the grand finals for Treasure Hunt number 4. This is a 19-person tournament based on treasure format from November 2000. Sorry, October 2002. Holy crap, man. I'm getting my stuff mixed up, ain't I? Let me clear my throat real quick. Alright, where were we? Right. We are in another grand finals once again based on the Treasure Monthlies, though there was a month hiatus due to the tournaments in September, but Hylian brought it back for October. This time with a $40, I think US dollar, prize pool between our two finalists here, that being Lolo, who's been making a name for himself in the DMGX retro scene, hitting some first and second spots. Lolo actually being the runner-up of my recent scientist tournament. That's actually November 2003, so fancy that. But just coming up short against the Scientist Supreme Ratos. And of course, Big Ben from YGO from Zero climbing back in to the finals from the previous one. Not piloting Burn this time, he's just on the tomatoes. As you can tell by the thumbnail, it's going to be a tomato takedown between these two competitors. Lola with the OCG version with the pumpkin tomato, very fitting for October, and bsocks with our still creepy TCG art. But yeah, nonetheless, it's interesting how Treasure has progressed as a format. Just going by some of the lists from past events, I'm gonna just pop those up real quick. That's not it. Having a number of relatively the same sort of lists. You know, the Mechanical Chasers, the freaking Magician of Fates, 2 Sand, 2 Witch, you know the drill. All same kind of power spells. But we've seen some variations. We've seen some spice, we've seen some technology come into the scene a little bit. If I jump back into another treasure tournament, players like GBO doing some experimentation with Giant Rat and the Robin Goblin. That little extra 50 defense, for example, being able to proc the Goblin's effect. Similar, so relatively the same gameplay, just some different technology coming in and out. And then we have someone like GMYFS as the winner of the last one, using things like Last Will to dig out cards from the deck, more tomatoes. Really just digging out the tomatoes, Sangans, and Witches. But running something like the Upstart, which seems weird to give your opponent 1,000 life points in more of a beatdown format, but getting into that one power card, one draw sooner could be all the difference. That draw could be a Pot of Greed. If it's your opening hand, that draw could be like a Delinquent Duo or Confiscation. Or it could just be that dig into that Raigeki to wipe the opponent. And life points are just whatever by that time. Sorry it's early, I'm doing my best to comment on the tournament past events, but we haven't seen, I don't see anything too out of the ordinary as far as the treasure lists go. I know a lot more players are using cards like Banisher of the Light in their main deck, being both a meta and an anti-meta card, preventing the Tomatoes, Sangans, and Witches from resolving their effects, giving potentially the Magician of Faith less targets to choose from, whilst being serviceable as a 2k defender to fend off aggression. The 2k threshold, the 2k defense threshold still be really strong because there are very few monsters that can actually hit over this. Very few monsters can actually swing over that line because most of your deck is sub 2k. Looks like our finalists are ready. I'm gonna go and we can start commenting on this. Okay, so that's enough of a introduction. I'm gonna get right into this game here because our finalists are ready. I was pausing the Legacy of the Duelist playlist. Let's get into our actual setup here. We're gonna look for Lolo versus bsocks. Alright guys, this is it. This is the grand finals for Treasure Hunt 4. Let's get into it. Let's get started. Lolo's going to win the RPs here. I'm going to play my music. Lolo in that first turn draw. Firing off the confiscation right off the bat. It's going to drop Lolo 1,000 life points. Going after the bsocks hand. The bsocks hand. Gonna hit that pot of greed right away. bsocks is not gonna get that +1, that draw 2. So he's got the Witch, Mirror Force, Change of Heart, and Confi in the hand. Lolo choosing to hit the pot of greed. Not worried about the confiscation. The Painful Choice is gonna come down. Lolo's gonna be playing more of their hand right away. Oops, sorry guys. Seeing Delinquent Duo. Their players milling the hand rips right away, not wanting to draw them at an ill-conceived time later in the match. I don't know. In my opinion, there's a lot. In my opinion, the hand rips can really pop off in kind of the mid game when it's a relatively lower resource situation. I personally don't like just trimming off all the hand rips off the Painful Choice unless like you're setting up targets for Magician of Faith. I'd rather just get into maybe some trap cards and starting tools, but these are the champions, these are the finalists. What the hell do I know? Consistency is the key to the game, and if milling some of those hand rips is the way to go, so you're not potentially bad top decks later, then I should be the one taking notes, right? bsocks is going to give him the Maneater Bug. Knowing that Lolo, it does set a monster. bsocks can better prepare for it. Set. Set 2 back row. Set 1 monster. Let's get pass over to bsocks. bsocks going to Witch. Gonna go and swing into that. That's the Cannon Soldier's gonna hit. bsocks gonna shade for 200 damage. bsocks gonna fire the Confi of his own. Lolo was fully prepared for that Confi, so bsocks gonna take out that Maneater Bug after all. Even though it might have... Nah. bsocks set 1. Possibly there'll be Earth Force. Gonna pass back to Lolo. Lolo putting that Cannon Soldier's high position, not worried about the tomatoes coming off the top deck. Gonna punch bsocks for 300. bsocks probably gonna be a search out of Mystic Tomato. No, he's gonna search out the Sand again here. giving bsocks more options to get into the deck. Tomato might have been the option to crash into the Cannon Soldier, but Lolo probably has a trap ready. Sangan can come out in attack position. A Change of Heart can come out. bsocks gonna go for a big push here. A little push, sorry. Gonna trim for 2400 damage. Lolo's gonna take the full brunt of that. Gonna take possibly more damage with Cannon Soldier tripping itself. Lolo gonna take 500, leaving the Sangan out in attack position. Lolo now down to 4,100 life points. The MST gonna come and snipe that back row. bsocks gonna lose that Mirror Force. The Monster Reborn is gonna sprawl out. It's gonna come out for the grave. The Tomato gonna beat over the Sangan. bsocks gonna grab that Witch from the deck. Not that Mystic Tomato. That's gonna pass over bsocks with an open board. 4 cards in hand. Oh, this is super weird. Dueling Book is kind of bugging out. I might have to refresh the page here. bsocks has managed to set a monster into the extra monster zone. The Manager Bug gonna kill that Mystic Tomato. Manager Bug being a staple card in this format. Flip effect monsters are not facing a lot of danger without the Nobleman Crossouts. And with the recruiter monsters needing to be destroyed by card effects, the Manager Bug just becomes a pretty common card to run in the main deck, or possibly more copies on the side. bsocks with that Mechanical Chaser can come push Lolo down even further, taking the swing back. Lolo having 4 cards in hand, does he have the means to come back? Sangan gonna come in the attack position. The Fissure is gonna be dropped. Sangan gonna strike in directly, going at 5,100. Very risky for Lolo to leave the Sangan attack position. The life point threshold is low. The Witch gonna come down. It's gonna get back control of that board. bsocks gonna hit over the Sangan. 100 more damage hit off of Lolo. Why is Lolo gonna search out of the deck? The Witch of his own is gonna come out of the deck. Could possibly set in defense positions. bsocks gonna set another card, pass back to Lolo. Probably a good incentive. Oh, the Heavy Storm! Gonna blow everything out. But the Waboku, so bsocks will not lose that Witch as a result of battle. But gonna hit that trap hole is gonna be a big deal. Lolo not wanting to lose monsters from the top deck into the trap hole. Lolo setting that Witch of the Black Forest, then another back row card. Pass back to bsocks here. Attacking in, it's gonna be the Witch. bsocks gonna take a little bit of shave damage, gonna be down to 5,000. Setting that back row, pass back to Lolo. Lolo's scouting out the opponent's graveyard. Let's look with him. We've gotten through the power spells like Change of Heart, but bsocks still has the 4 big guys, the 5 big ones in the deck. I still count Snatch Steel as one of those big power spells, the big blowout plays. Lolo's gonna simply pass back over to bsocks, leaving his T-pose. bsocks gonna switch the Witch to defense, set another monster, pass back to Lolo here. The Raigeki is gonna blow out that board. bsocks losing the Magician of Faith, but he is gonna be able to search from the deck to hand. This next search could be intercepted by Lolo, given that chance. bsocks getting a second Sangan out of his deck. Witch is going to punch in 1,100. bsocks falling down to 3,900. Lolo's going to set another monster, pass back to bsocks. Lolo's gaining control of the game once again. bsocks, 3 cards in hand, compared to Lolo's 4. 2 of Lolo's big power spells are in the grave, but that Magician of Faith could be set. Lolo could get a chance to recur these monsters from the graveyard. bsocks gonna set, pass back to Lolo. Staying on the defense. What's going to be Lolo's next play? Following long. Monster Reborn's out of the picture. Witch is going to go and attack the defense position monster. It is a Magician of Faith. bsocks going to recall that Pot of Greed. Going to be able to go for those power spells in the deck. Though the Magician of Faith of Lolo's Zone, he's going to call back that Delinquent Duo. That's going to knock that 2 cards out of bsocks' hand. Oh, man. Lolo must have been looking for that Magician of Faith. bsocks in even more dire straits here. In a top deck situation, he's got to pull his way. He's got to pull his way out of this, or Lolo's going to take this first game. Though Lolo's life points are in critical condition with the 1150. The MST is going to hit this next card. Waboku. That Lolo's not going to get killed this turn. bsocks will simply set. Pass back to Lolo here. Lolo might want to switch his monsters to defense position. As a mechanical chaser on the Magician of Faith will kill him. What's going to be Lolo's next decision? Going on defense. If Lolo tries to attack into the defense position monster, it could be a Giant Soldier Stone, but oh, it's a Cannon Soldier. Going to put Lolo down 200 life points into that 950 threshold. If bsocks does summon another monster, he can kill Lolo here. If he gets another monster, the Snatch Steel coming out. Oh, this could end the game for Lolo. He can tribute off the Magician of Faith and tribute off the Cannon Soldier, burning out Lolo's life points. This could be the first game. Does Lolo have a response? No, and Lolo is taken down. bsocks winning and securing that first game of this series. Now, bsocks did come from the lower bracket, so he is going to have to win twice here over Lolo. Lolo. Simple teeth pose, pass back to bsocks. That's not the right music. There we go. This is a finals game. We gotta have some intense music. Ah, the Sentry coming down from bsocks. It's gonna scope out one of Lolo's cards, put it right back in the deck. Gonna push Fissure back into the deck. Lolo may not have a lot of cards to work with in this opening hand. You got the Bug, Magician of Faith, ×2, and a Snatch Steel. bsocks interesting not putting the Snatch Steel back, but possibly having an MST to answer this. One of the downsides of the Snatch is the MST to quickly respond and answer that move. bsocks not even playing a monster on his board. Not even setting one. The Tomato's going to come in. Going to get possibly some free damage here on bsocks. With the Mechanical Chaser, Lolo's going to get some big damage on the bsocks here. Going to push him down to 4750. bsocks could possibly have a... Yeah, he's going to have the Dark Hole going to come down. bsocks holding off on his board so he can get Lolo hitting 2 of his monsters. That Monster Reborn is going to come and get his own Lolo's Mechanical Chaser. bsocks going to come with a swing of his own. Going to chip Lolo down to 6,150 life points. He's going to fire his own Delinquent Duo. Going to put Lolo hard on his back foot. Hitting the Magician of Faith, hitting the Man-Eater Bug. Set. Back to Lolo. Lolo getting hit with a big swing here. Multiple power spells. I wonder if bsocks held this Delinquent Duo. Oh, the Snatch is going to come and take that Mechanical Chaser. It's going to pop the Man-Eater Bug. Both players down to a low resource situation. bsocks falling down below that 4K threshold. That Heavy Storm is going to clear this back row of Lolos. The Trap Hole is out. Sometimes that's what you need. The Raigeki for bsocks. So many power spells going in this early game. bsocks gonna set. Deny Lolo that Magician of Faith. bsocks coming with another turn. The Masked Sorcerer coming in. bsocks having his card intact. Having teched in his card, the Masked Sorcerer is still putting work even in this format. Getting that damage in, getting that extra draw, flying under the trap hole. Even if it does die to cards like Sangan and Witch. Lolo's going to clear that back row, that Mirror Force. There you go. Sangan's going to come and get rid of this Masked Sorcerer. Not going to give bsocks any more draws. We'll pass over to bsocks. bsocks 2 cards to Lolo's 1. Sangan will provide a search. bsocks going to take a moment to think about 2 cards in hand. Considering all the possibilities. You could feel the tension. You feel the tension. bsocks getting low here. Having to consider whether to set the card or play it. Sangan's going to go in. Magician of Faith is going to be recalled. Is going to help recall a spell card. The Raigeki is coming to the board. bsocks wants to get the Sangan off the field. Or possibly threaten more board setup from Lolo. Set monster. Lolo coming in. We're going to go for an attack on the set monster. The Mater Bug's going to pop that Sangan here. Lolo's going to get it. Monster from deck to hand. Lolo still having his normal summon. Could bring it on the board. You have the Witch of the Black Forest. Going to make that Raigeki a little bit weaker. bsocks down a few power spells and on the back foot. Witch is going to be flipped up, going to hit bsocks directly, going to push him down to 2550, getting even lower. Lolo's still having a bunch of his power spells within the deck. bsocks pulling monsters from the deck, setting them. The MST is going to come hit that next card. They're going to hit that other trap hole. bsocks losing on a few trap holes. That Change of Heart, this could be the end if it's the right monster. The monster, and it's going to be a kill combo. bsocks is going to get hit for a game with that combo with Change of Heart and Monster Reborn. There we go. Lolo was having the power cards ready to go and was enough to defeat bsocks here. Now it all comes down to this. It does now all come down to this final match. Can bsocks keep himself alive for another match, or will Lolo secure the treasure hunt 4 in this? A lot of back and forth. That second duel being quite dynamic. Lots of power spells throwing out. Lots of big pushes and coming in. Treasure games. They can be... Treasure games, they can just have their slow moments. But some of the big plays, they can be explosive. The Change of Heart, with the Monster Reborn, with the Snatch Steal. There's a lot of swing power coming in. Alright, we're going to get into this, possibly this final battle here. Let's find out. Let's play some final battle music to go in. bsocks getting this first turn T-pose. No hand rips. Passing back over to Lolo. The painful choice is going to be dropped. Lolo's getting some cards out of the deck and in quick access. The confiscation. The delinquent duo. Is he going to mill all the hand rips? The pot of greed. Oh, very risky. want to giving bsocks as tough of a choice as possible. That change of heart. This is gonna be spicy, folks. This is gonna be blazing. This is gonna be blazing red hot of an opening move. Hold on, I gotta. I do have a call. Somebody's I think our gracious host might be joining us. Bsocks gonna get the Bsocks gonna give the change of heart. Alright, I gotta quiet the music. Welcome, welcome, Hylian.
Hey man.
Hey.
Sorry, unfortunately my morning over here is kind of starting earlier than expected and earlier than I hoped, so I wasn't able to hop in for the first 2 games. And I'm just here for a quick minute saying, thanks to both competitors for showing up and making it all the way to the end, and thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is tied for our biggest event yet.
Right on, yeah, it's been a crazy final so far. Some big back and forths, some power spells flying out, some tomatoes getting eaten by bugs. It's been wild.
It's definitely a very fun meta. And it's interesting to see something that's so early, when the game was so underdeveloped at that point, yet we managed to find things to it to make it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Before I started the finals, I actually talked a bit about some of the other topping lists from like GBO and GMYFS and some of the different tech cards they're using, like the Robin Goblin, cards like Last Will and Upstart Goblins sneaking into finals lists, even like T-Drags coming in as an option. There's even though the meta is relatively around this whole Tomato, Sangan, Witch, Mechanical Chaser package, there's a number of tech cards that you can squeeze in and out for those plays. Even bsocks using a Mass Sorcerer as part of his list, getting in that damage for the draws.
Yeah, no, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, in any format, and that's what's interesting is people think it's only later formats that have shifting metas and have little spicy cards here and there that you can pull in just to kind of throw things off, because someone can call a card in theory say that card is jank, or that card doesn't work, or that card doesn't really flow, and you can say that, but hey, then when you're getting sacked by it, now what?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's in the creative field, which I'm in, we have a rule. It's called you can break the rules when you have the rationale for it. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't mean certain cards are barred, but I mean, if you have an incentive to run a tech card, a way to like change the list of what's the status quo, then yeah, by all means, why not go for it? Why not take that risk? You always have that bit of luck in Yu-Gi-Oh to make it work.
The heart of the cards.
Yeah. Sometimes you have
Well,
to.
thanks for hosting. And
Oh yeah,
thanks
of course.
For everyone who participated.
Yeah, no, it's been good hosting. It's been. All right, well, thanks for chatting. We're happy to hear from you, and we're happy that you're hosting this event for the 4th time now, and it's a format that people are definitely interested in. So keep it up, and we're happy to have you host it.
Oh yeah, when we did the first one, I wasn't sure if there would be any interest in part 2 and 3, and Well, then part 2 and 3 came and went, and now we got part 4 was a success, and why not? Why not just keep on going? So, we'll find out. I'm not, we're not ready to announce yet if part 5 is going to be in November or if it's going to, be pushed back to December, but hey, we definitely got to do a part 5, and, GBO strikes back.
Right. Yeah, these guys. Yeah, these guys could strike back and take that title slot anytime.
Well, alright, man. See you next time, and see you around the server. Good luck, treasure hunters.
Yeah. Thanks, Hallian. That was a little word from our host there, given wanting to quickly jump into the comms. Frequent guest on this channel, always happy to have him. We saw a bit of an explosive play with the MSTs being chained back to one another. Lolo down 2 MSTs. bsocks still having a couple in the deck. I did miss out some of the action commenting. Well, we got a cannon soldier coming in. That change of heart is going to be a big play. Lolo going for the Mondo push. Sangan. 24. That's going to be for a 3,800 damage push. Not the biggest push in the world, but it's going to push. But it's going to go with some more damage here with bsocks tributing. Sorry, Lolo tributing off bsocks' made or bug. Lolo going to drop his own Sangan with a cannon soldier. Well, searching up in the deck. Gonna leave those 2 monsters in attack position. bsocks now in danger from that change of heart play. Gonna be set, T-pose, 2 back row, 1 set monster, passing back here to Lolo. Building up a new defense line. It's gonna need it. Lolo still having cards like Dark Hole and Raigeki and Monster Reborn at the helm. He could possibly make another big push here. Still having 2 heavy storms in the deck. This back row could get blown out by Lolo. bsocks not quite having the same access. Ooh, is it going to be the Banisher of the Light here? It's going to protect bsocks. That's going to chip Lolo for 600 damage. Banisher being the double-edged sword anti-meta tech that many players have been main decking now. It's going to prevent those Mystic Tomatoes from getting their summons. It's going to prevent the Sangans and Witches from getting their searches. Also being that 2k wall. As I mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of monsters within the meta game that have over 2k. Mystic Tomatoes can be dropped. They're both going to crash into each other. Going to be banished. bsocks not wanting getting Lolo access to that kill switch with Cannon Soldier. Lolo's going to have to get rid of this Banisher before bsocks can dig into more of his power spells. That Mechanical Chaser coming out, the Trap Hole is going to wipe it out. bsocks gained some control back in the game, but he's still in danger of some of the power spells. Oh, the Snatch Steal! Gonna grab that Banisher away from bsocks. Tomato's gonna be able to punch in for 1,400 damage. Unless bsocks has a Mystical Space Typhoon to rescue it. Sometimes the players, they can hold Mystical Space Typhoon for the battle phase, and then there it is. Unlike in later formats, you don't have to worry about the opponent tributing off the monster for a tribute summon or something else. Here you can bait the battle phase out. The Monster Reborn. bsocks is ready to make a comeback. Getting this Mechanical Chaser back home. That's not gonna let Mystic Tomato resolve. bsocks getting some get himself back in, but Lolo could have that Dark Hole. There's that Raigeki coming in. bsocks once again in danger of having his life points getting chipped. There's the Witch of the Black Forest. That's going to push bsocks down to 2,100 life points. It is not looking good for our wide Geo from Zero host. bsocks desperate. He is desperate for more of the power spells. He is desperate to get some draws in. Looking fairly unfavorable. This might be Lolo's time to take the treasure hunt crown. What's Lolo's next incentive? Lolo keeping up the momentum. Keep bsocks out of any kind of setup and a way to come back. He might be at 2,100 life points and one less card, but he still has a power source. Oh, the Monster Reborn is going to come out from Lolo here. Mechanical Chaser. He's going to possibly clear this out. It's the Mass Sorcerer. Witch is going to go in for another attack. bsocks down to his last 1,000 life points. He better not draw one of those hand rips, or it's going to be lights out. Does he have the heart of the cards? bsocks hanging on for dear life, studying those monsters, passing back to Lolo. The heavy is going to clear that any possible spells or traps. That's going to be a fissure. That's going to be a no-go. Mechanical Chaser, the second one. Lolo has taken the match. Lolo has taken the crown. bsocks is out. Lolo wins Treasure Hunt 4. That's it. There is no second final set. bsocks fought long and hard to get back into be a 2-time runner-up. But it just wasn't there this time. Lolo coming in undefeated in this tournament. Well played by both finalists, demonstrating both their confidence and their skill here. We're gonna just scale back to replay. I'm gonna see these guys on the call. We'll see if we can get these guys in the booth to get some of their thoughts. Hey, bsocks. Welcome. It's so close, darn. Yeah. Well played nonetheless. Being a 2-time runner-up now, you still got the moves, but Lolo had it. I guess Lolo had the pulls in this one.
Yeah, I think I probably misplayed game 2. I need to look back at the replay and see how I did there, because I was definitely in a commanding position, but the end of the game did not go my way. I think I could have potentially flipped up Faith and got back, heavy instead of getting back Raigeki, because I did have back row in case this set was MST, and if my back row survived, then the sorcerer would have been protected from most things, and then I could keep getting value off that. That's probably where I misplayed game 2. But game 3, I think there wasn't too much I could have done here. But I mean, Treasure's a fun format. I like it either way. And it's cool to see some experimentation still going on. I mean, Lalo played Painful Choice, which is definitely not it's something people go back and forth on. I'm still not the biggest fan of it. Yes, if you have Faith like Lalo did in this last game, it is very good because you just get a bunch of spells from Grave and then get one back with Faith, and that's very powerful. if you don't have faith in Grave, like in the first game, I think Painful Choice is not really the best. Because like they sent 5, and I gave them the worst of them, and then it didn't really get them much value for the rest of the game. So I think it's just personal preference on choice at this point. But
Sure, sure.
maybe that'll change over time.
Speaking of Lolo, we got him in the booth here. Lolo, congratulations on winning Treasure Hunt number 4. How are you feeling?
Hi, thanks. Yeah, it's a great feeling to won treasure tournament. So yeah,
right on.
I'm very excited about that.
We were just quickly talking about the Painful Choice in the main deck. What are your kind of thoughts on that? Because it's been a toss-up between having it in the main or side or even not at all.
I think it's still a great card for thinning the deck. Usually I found myself in a situation where I put all the hand rip spells in the grave and like an MST or a Waboku, which are still good options for me. And in this case, for the final, since I had a muff in hand, I went for the powerful spells to retrieve them later, hopefully. So I think it's a good card to main deck overall.
Right on, yeah. No, Gant's set up for Magician of Faith, super big because it can surprise the opponent, especially if you like play that and then you throw a Faith down. You can be a little bit sneaky, but yeah. Sorry, bsocks, you want to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that does put it over Thunder Dragon in terms of deck thinning. It actually, it deck thins, but also there's the case where you have Faith and it's extremely powerful beyond just deck thinning, but getting you a powerful card as well. Although I will say, it is kind of awkward, and this is something that like is just a treasure format thing. It's kind of just the nature of the format a bit. But like, if you do Painful Choice, send a bunch of spells and then set a monster, like it's pretty telegraphed that that's a Faith. And then it's like, does your opponent have the out or do they not have the out, right? And I mean that's just the nature of the format, right? Like sometimes your opponent has a Faith set and they can get back a powerful spell, but you just can't do anything about it. So you're like, well, okay, that is what it is. Sometimes like you can bluff around that too. Don't get me wrong. Like you could send a bunch of spells to Grave with Painful and then set like a Sangan or a Witch and be like, oh, if they want to Geki or Dark Hole this, it's not really that good for them. But yeah, just one of those things. Like Critter has this too a bit, where like there's some plays with Faith that like it comes down to either your opponent has an out or they don't have an out, and if they don't have an out, then you just basically get so much advantage that you might win the game. So having Painful to set that up can be very, very nice. So yeah, I for me personally, I still don't like necessarily like super love the card. But I'm also playing a build with Banisher of the Light, and in Banisher builds, it's like, if you got Banisher up and you drop Painful, that's just a dead draw, right? Because they'd all be banished. And like, you can still deck in that way, but normally you still want those cards in the graveyard in some capacity to, potentially get back, or, potentially, force your opponent to get maybe a monster engraved that you can reborn or something like that. So
Sure.
And the Banisher builds, it's kind of iffy.
Sure. Yeah, so interesting thoughts about the format. Lolo, what are your thoughts on kind of Treasure as a whole based on the tournaments you've played and now that you've come in undefeated in this recent tournament? What are your thoughts on the like format and going forward?
Yeah, I think treasure is pretty much like not a format with much blowouts card, so it's great in that way. It feels steady sometimes when you just have some critter monsters, but overall it's I think it's better than critter because critter lacks the amount of power spells, and games can be too long because of that. But overall, I would prefer Imperial, just because there are Crossout and Jinzo and Io, so games are might not be that balanced, but those cards feel great to play when you have them.
Yeah, there's been debate in Imperial with like Jinzo or IO well, not really debate, but there's been like consensus of they are definitely the Titans. Kind of dictate a lot of the games, but Nobel Crossout being a somewhat of a healthy addition given in Treasure here. There's not a lot of ways to answer the set monsters unless you have something like Banisher or you got like the bug to get stuff. But Knock adds the makes it dangerous to set those like Magician of Fates, or you have to be careful about throwing Sandgate Witch face down because you're just getting them scoped out.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually have the reverse ordering of my favorite formats of this era. Like I like Critter the most, then Treasure, then Imperial. But I think it just comes down to um, what you're looking for in a game and how you want the games to be. Like for me, Imperial, like the Nock edition is very nice, but the editions of Io and Jinzo are very not nice for me. So I don't really like it as much, and I think that like occasionally you can have like very blowout games with just like your opponent sets up Jinzo and a bunch of aggression, and then you're just dead in like 2 turns or something. But I think that can be preferable to the long grindy games of Critter, whereas Lalo says it's lacking some of the blowout spells, and so you get into these long grind fests and stuff. And I really like that sort of gameplay and sort of dynamic. But it all depends on the player, right? So
Sure.
I think it's nice that we've looked in to these formats, and now we have these options for people. If they want to play something like Imperial, they can play something like Imperial. If they want to play something like Critter, they can play something like Critter. And if they want a nice happy middle ground that everyone can agree is pretty decent, they can play Treasure.
There we go. Yeah, no, I think part of the favoritism towards Critter is given the fact that we don't have we don't have what's considered these degen cards, like not just the hand rips, but people are very iffy on Snatch Steal, and players traditionally prefer these slower pace, like less powerful, like control based formats, because that feels like the traditional card game approach is like managing resources like we do in Critter, and that slower pace kind of you're playing chess instead of playing checkers. Not to say these formats are just slap the power cards and go to Funky Town. It's just a matter of the approach, a matter of the outlook on how they approach cards, like games like Yu-Gi-Oh and even stuff like MTG and One Piece, etc. If that makes sense.
I think it does, and I think a lot of the reason why people view the typical card game as like a more control-y game is because Magic was the first trading card game out there, right? And Magic is a resource-based game, so by nature of just having to play your lands and set up over multiple turns, it becomes more of a control-based game and less of an aggressive game. I think one of the nice things about Yu-Gi-Oh is that without a resource system like lands and mana and all that stuff, like we can have these formats that are more aggressive, and some people that will appeal to. And I think that it sort of fills a niche that no other card game really has.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Yeah, I definitely feel that too. Where you have these, it's almost like a game of like, it's almost like the guns on the table, and you're kind of waiting for one person, your opponent, to shoot the before you do. If that makes sense, like kind of like it's like a Wild West kind of situation where you're waiting for your opponent to draw, and see who shoots.
Yeah, and that does require a different skill from the typical more control-y game, and I think it's good to sort of improve that skill and play those formats so that way you learn a bit more how to enhance that, because it will come up in other formats, right? Like in Treasure format it comes up, even in Critter format it comes up occasionally. Like you need to know when to go all in, right? And so it's a good skill to hone.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we talked about it before on some of our streams, there's almost not really a definitive Yu-Gi-Oh across the board. There's just there's what players prefer and what players are they consider fun, and what they consider skill, and what they consider like strategy. So it's a matter of preference. People are gonna have different rationales for what they like in formats and what they like in Yu-Gi-Oh. So that's kind of interesting to see the player's perspective. So do we have any final closing thoughts before we kind of wrap this up here from bsocks, from Lolo? What do you guys, any final thoughts? Anything you want to say on the stream before we saddle up here?
Well, I just want to
just
say
wanna
again.
say.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you go, you go.
thanks. Yeah, I just want to say that I'm really excited to see all these tournaments for different formats, and yeah, I think I'll be joining them in the future, and I hope to see like other tournaments for formats that we don't play much, like for example Android or Yata, something like that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying these tournaments overall.
Right on, right on. Well, we're happy to have you. You've demonstrated a lot of skill, and you've gotten some top spots. So keep it up.
Yeah, thanks.
bsocks, any final thoughts from you before we kind of hit
Yeah,
get the
I
show on
just
the road?
wanted to say, I just want to say again, congrats to you, Lalo, for not just winning but going undefeated. I mean, that's very, very impressive.
Oh, thanks.
Especially in a format like this, which, yeah, it's just very impressive. So, congrats again. And yeah, I'm also looking forward to more tournaments on the way and just continuing to explore things that people have not looked into before and sort of showing how cool they can be.
Yeah, there are several tournaments on the horizon. We have the Chaos Cup starting, I believe, this Sunday, which is tomorrow. We've got another Joey Pegasus tournament with a huge prize incentive from Soul Emerald 69. We have my cyber tournament coming on the 30th, and there's between you guys, I think we might be getting another Android tournament for November. Keish and I have been talking a bit, and it's a possibility that we're going to get the one for November, so stay tuned.
All right,
I'm
awesome.
looking forward to it.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. It's been a fun finals match to watch, and we'll see you guys on the Discord, and you can talk to Hylian regarding the prize pool, and that'd be $40, I believe, US. So be sure to reach out to him and to work it out, and yeah, I'll see you guys around otherwise and stuff.
Yeah, see you then. Also, like,
All right.
comment, subscribe to PJ's channel.
And check out that YGO from 01. I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard okay things about it.
Yeah. Well, in due time, All right, guys, I'm wrapping this up. Thank you. And I'll see you both around.
All right.
Yeah, see you then.
See you then.
See you then.
All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream here. We had our final match. Shout out to Hylian for hosting the event, creating a prize incentive, hyping up the format, getting these players in not just once, not just twice, getting some repeat business here. Treasure appears to be well liked by a good chunk of the community, so if you're interested in this kind of action, there is a link to the Discord in the description below. But for now, I'm going to sign out. I need to get some breakfast. It is 7:48 in Pacific time, so I kind of just woke up and started streaming. So thanks, guys. PJ out.